What's going on there, Flyers Nations? Well, this was a very good weekend for the Philadelphia Flyers, for Flyers weekend, that is. How often do the Flyers beat the Rangers back to back? It doesn't happen very often at all, and I can't remember. I can't remember the last time when the Flyers played the Rangers back to back and beat them. But it's the first time. It's the first time the Flyers have swept the Rangers in 14 years. But they are on a roll. But I gotta tell you, Mighty Fan is right. I mean, he is right. What I said about a couple months ago. I didn't think the Flyers are going to make the playoffs. I did say this on my videos about a couple months ago that I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. And yes, I was mad as a Hornet. I will admit that. But one thing I wasn't cursing all the players out. But I was upset and I was pissed off. The way they were playing in the first or second week of January. But right now the Flyers are on a good spot. Right now we have home ice advantage. We are in fourth place in the Eastern Conference. But that can change. You know why? Because the Flyers have a tougher schedule coming up. Now, if they can beat the Washington Capitals on the road like they did before, that'd be awesome. But I believe they're putting Brian Elliott between the pipes against Washington on Wednesday night. And I know also I did say if I made a minor mistake about the Flyers and Carolina. I thought the Flyers are going to Carolina on Thursday night, but they're not. They're coming back here at home. The Flyers will be coming back at home against. The Flyers are coming back at home against the Carolina Hurricanes, and I'm pretty sure that Carter Hart will be in goal. So they have one more game on the road against Washington. Then they come back home to play. The Carolina Hurricanes, and then the Flyers will be home again on Saturday night with the Battle of the Carters, with Carter Hart versus Carter Hutton against the Buffalo Sabres. You'll have Wayne Simmons coming back in Philly on Saturday night coming up. I don't know if they're going to give him an ovation or not, but you're going to see Wayne Simmons in the Buffalo Sabres uniform. So we shall see. And also Jack Eichel and Darlene Rasmus and Jeff Skinner in the coming to town for the Buffalo Sabres. And you have another head coach who's in its first year for the Buffalo Sabres, which is Ralph Kruger. But it should be so. But so obviously the Flyers do have a tougher schedule ahead of them. You have the Boston Bruins and the Tampa Bay Lightning coming up, but I was just listening to a local sports talk radio. Few fans were saying the Flyers are going to win the Stanley Cup. I'm like, get the hell out of here. They're not going to win the Cup. So I just want to give you my prediction for the Flyers. They are not going to win the Stanley Cup. I'll tell you that right now. That's a hell of a good way to jinx them. And I like the Flyers where they're at now. Okay, let's focus on one game at a time. Okay, and then we can start talking playoffs. Okay. Excuse me. But then we can start talking playoffs. But the Flyers aren't done yet. They still have more work to do. But I like the way Konechny has been playing Sanheim. I like the way that Kevin Hayes has been playing. But I do think, as far as Joel Farabee and Morgan Frost goes, I think they're better off playing for the Lehigh Valley Phantoms. Speaking of which, Mighty Fan, Neil B, a.k.a. the Mighty Fan, and myself are going to the Lehigh Valley Phantoms game March 14th against the Toronto Marlies. That's where, what's his name, David Ayers is the Zamboni driver for the Toronto Marlies. So there you go. But we'll get to see Farabee, Frost, and Bunneman in Lehigh Valley in a couple weeks' time. But getting back to the Flyers, even Claude Giroux is getting better, and Jake Voracek, Couturier, and JVR. Well, Couturier has been really good this season, but I believe TK has 20 or 21 goals, if I remember correctly now. But before I sign off, here's my prediction for the NHL Stanley Cup Finals. My prediction's not always right, but I'm going to give it to you anyhow. So I hope I'm wrong on this, but you ready for this? The teams that are going to make the Stanley Cup Finals for 2020 this year is the Colorado Avalanche versus the Tampa Bay Lightning. Although Steven Stamkos is out for the rest of the season, that could change. So it could very well be the Boston Bruins too. But like Mighty Fan and Big Slim said, the hell with Boston. They always cheat, and so did the Houston Astros. I'm not going to get into it, but I hope it's not the Boston Bruins going to make the Stanley Cup Finals. I do hope the Tampa Bay Lightning can get in. So I'm still going to stick to my prediction, saying the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Colorado Avalanche in the Stanley Cup Finals. You still have Tyler Johnson. You still have Killorn. Vasilevsky's a hell of a great goaltender. So that's my prediction for 2019-20 NHL Stanley Cup Finals. The Avalanche and the Lightning. So, all right, I'm about almost 9 minutes in this video, so I'm gonna wrap this video up. Thanks as always for watching my videos. Let's go Flyers. The Flyers they have the St. Louis Blues coming up, Minnesota Wild, and Edmonton Oilers right after those two tough schedules with Tampa Bay Lightning and the Boston Bruins. But like I said, one game at a time for me. So that's all I'm looking at. Excuse me. Something stuck in my throat. So I apologize for that. But yeah. We shall see. I'm not getting ahead of myself. But a lot of stuff can happen between now and before the playoff starts. But But if the Flyers can get in the playoffs this year, that's great. I'll be happy. But if they don't make the playoffs this year, then it is what it is. There's nothing we can do about it. What can you do? So that can change. But the Flyers have been very lucky. The Penguins been losing, and so have the Islanders, the Blue Jackets. But the Washington Capitals broke their losing streak. You know, the Minnesota Wild weren't able to match up with the Capitals last night to beat them. They lost 4-3. So what can you? So hey, what can you do? You can't have everything, right? But I do want to see Carter Hart get his first playoff experience. I just if we can make it far, great. If not, what can you do? I mean, we do have a goaltender. First time in over 30 years. Yeah, with all due respect to Ron Hextall, Pelle Lindbergh was a better goalie than Hextall was. With all due respect, I mean he was a good goalie too, but we've had goalies that weren't the best in after all these years. But with Ken Reggett, John Van Beesbrook, Sean Burke, he was a piece of crap. He was terrible. But then you had goalies like Czech Monic, Robert Esch, Ninamaki, Ray Emery. God rest his soul for Ray Emery. Brian Boucher, he was a good goalie. Steve Mason. But then but finally we have a good goalie now, Carter Hart, and Brian Elliott, who's the backup. But all right, everybody. Oh my goodness, 13 minutes in this video. But that's about do it for me. Thanks as always for watching my videos. Let's go Flyers, and I'll see you all in my next video. All right, there. Take care now. Bye-bye.